Warning: do not watch this video if you are allergic to great action scenes. It is only films like RRR that makes you feel like having such kind of powers. Have you ever watched a film and felt so energized that you feel like you have the power of the protagonist? You almost feel so invincible. I promise you that that is exactly how the Indian film RRR is going to make you feel. Let's get to the story. The film is actually set in an Indian community when the community was still under British rule. The film tells the story of Bhim and Raju, who are on opposite sides in the society, but unknowingly these two become friends. Bhim's little sister from their village is taken by the British to the city. Therefore, Bhim embarks on a journey to retrieve the small girl from the British. Raju, on the other hand, is a member of the British Army, and not just that, he is the most coolest police officer of all time. When he is introduced into the movie, there are so many questions that you are bedeviled with right away. Questions like, who is this guy? Why is he in the British Army? Why is he fighting a whole multitude of people? There is literally a scene where it is him versus everyone else. He's trying to arrest one guy in the midst of a multitude of people, and he has to fight his way through just to arrest one guy in the middle of all these people. And the cinematography is so great that whilst he's fighting through the crowd, even though there are thousands of people, you can still see him in the midst of the crowd. Even though this is actually a fantasy film, you can call it a historic fantasy because it is actually based on actual historic figures in the struggle for Indian independence, which is Alluri Sitram Raju and Comral Bhim. In real life, these two revolutionists never met. But the film poses the question, what if they met? And what if they became friends? And what if all this drama unfolded? It is this underlying historic relevance that fuels this historic fantasy. Even the costume used by Raju in the ending fight scene of the film is actually reminiscent of the Hindu god Lord Ram. Now, here is the important part. This film is not a Bollywood film, even though it is an Indian film. That is because all Bollywood films are Indian films, but not all Indian films are Bollywood films. Let me explain. You see, films made in the Hindi language and produced in Mumbai, which was formerly known as Bombay, are actually referred to as Bollywood films. But here is the interesting part. Bollywood films only contribute just a little fraction of the total number of films that are produced in India every year. Thanks to other film industries in India, especially from the southern sector of India, Bollywood does not hold a monopoly over the whole Indian film industry. To put this into perspective, here are some very notable industries within Indian cinema. We have Kollywood, which makes Tamil films. We also have Tollywood, which is the Bengali film industry. Take note of Tollywood because I'll be coming back right to that industry. We also have Hollywood, which is the Odia film industry. We also have Mollywood, which is the Malayalam film industry. And we also have Chollywood, which is Chhattisgarhi. I mean, come on, cut it. Sorry if I butcher the names, but I'm not Indian. And many others. So this film RRR is actually from the Tollywood industry, which is the Telugu film industry. Now, this Tollywood is not to be confused with the Tollywood that we mentioned earlier, which is the Bengali film industry. So you do have two industries called Tollywood, but you need to take key note of that because these two Tollywoods are all different. And the specific Tollywood under our review today is the Telugu one because that is the industry that actually produced this RRR. And the amazing part of this film is that it brought together three of the biggest stars of the Tollywood industry, which is NTRama Rao Jr. and Rajamouli. These three are the biggest names in Tollywood cinema. However, in the past, no production was able to afford all these three people on one film because they are so expensive that no production house could afford them. And so this was the first time you will see all these three stars coming together, and that is why the industry went crazy when this film was actually released. Now, I haven't mentioned the director of the film yet, and I've mentioned three stars. Now, where is the third person? Now, the last name I mentioned, which is Rajamouli, is actually the director of this film. But Ramchan and Rao Jr. are actually kind of the antagonists and protagonists of the film. That is if I'm right to put it that way, because technically this film is not your traditional good versus evil or this person is right or this person is wrong. It's all about perspectives, and each of the two characters have their own motivation. And it is the convergence of these three big names that actually inspired the title of this film. So RRR, which has actually been changed to Rise, Roar, Revolt, just to appeal to international audience, was actually advertised as Ramchan, Rao Jr. and Rajamouli. Three R's coming together to make a great film. Fun fact, this ending scene of the movie, director Rajamouli shows his face, and trust me, the first time I saw some of the clips from India, the audience went crazy when they saw Rajamouli on screen. Indian film industries are still run by human beings. You have that human connection. The human beings are the products of the industry. And so some of these people are actually stars now. They are very revered in the Indian film industry. Someone like Rajamouli has actually changed the narrative of Indian films, especially films coming from Tollywood, because his film Bahubali is actually the highest grossing Indian film of all time. And for me, SS Rajamouli is actually an auteur. What? Did you ask what an auteur is? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, an author is actually an artist whose work can easily be identified by studying one of their work and relating it to the whole body of works that they have. Simply put, if you know one work of the artist, when you see the next one, there are some similar elements in it, and so you can easily tell that this film is coming from this person. Take a look at Bahubali. Take a look at Eega. And now, take a look at RRR. Do you get a point now? Rajamouli likes this grandiose, extravagant, over-the-top kind of exaggerated action scenes. And these are very obvious in all these films that I've shown you. And so for me, seeing a Rajamouli film, I immediately recognize it. And let me give you a secret. To watch a Rajamouli film, you need to throw away all your idea of gravity and all your idea of logic. Because in a Rajamouli film, the heroes do not have limits. They can virtually do everything. And for me, technically, that is what a fantasy hero should be like. No boundaries at all. And some of the things that his heroes do are so gravity defying. Take a look at this scene and you would think in real life, the weight of this motorbike will not allow it to be able to spin like this. But hey, who cares? This is a Rajamouli film. And so if you have your idea about gravity, put it aside before you come to watch a Rajamouli film. That, my friends, is the only way you can enjoy a Rajamouli film. So depending on which side of the coin that you are, if you think movies are an avenue for escapism, then it is RRR. If you think movies are supposed to be serious, then it is RRR. If you think movies are supposed to be tragic, then it is RRR. If you think movies are supposed to be suspenseful, then it is RRR. If you think movies are supposed to be entertaining, then it is RRR. RRR is everything, guys. As a matter of fact, I think RRR is a whole film school on its own, because after breaking down this film, you are done with film school, because it has all the elements of what a great film or movie should have. This film works so hard because it is a film of friendship, it's a film of emotion, it's a film of connection, and it puts audience on the edge of the seat. Constantly, you don't know what is about to happen next. Guys, RRR is simply amazing. I recommend this film if you want to become a filmmaker. Study and pay attention carefully. Cinematography, editing, music, and every particular element of this film. And trust me, it is film school made easy. In the basic film world, we say a film should have a beginning, middle, and an end, and the characters must have goals that they will pursue. In this film, you don't need to scratch your head to know what each character is after. And straight off, that is what hooks the audience, because we are so tied into their story and we are so worried about their friendship, and we are also worried about the little girl. And even though we have the middle, beginning, and an end, and clearly defined goals of the characters, even within every scene, you always have this constant things that these characters are chasing. So each section of the film is actually echoing this same kind of story structure. And not just that, this movie is full of symbolism. Symbolism alone in this film can actually be a whole video on its own, and it's endless, guys. For example, Raju is more of someone who is on fire and constantly fighting, and you see him fighting with fire, and everything fire is usually associated with him. Beam is more of a calm person, and so he's most often associated with water, and so he ends up fighting with water. Genius stuff happening, guys. The songs in this film are not also just random songs that are just playing in the background, but The nature and the way the director chooses to use the songs in this Indian film, it's so good and it's so reminiscent of Greek theater. It exactly functions like the way the chorus used to function in Greek theater. Take for example the scene where Raju and Bhim become the best of friends. The song in the background goes like this. In the unforeseen turn of fate, which has culminated into this friendship, it is yet to be seen if it will end in bloodshed. A friendship between a volcano and a storm. Once the veil is lifted, will there be a destructive war? If this is not reminiscent of Greek chorus, I don't know what else is. I can't conclude my thoughts on this film without talking about the CGI, which is the computer-generated imagery. Now, in recent times, I know we've all been complaining, and you see film critics going like, oh, I don't like CG. CG is so noticeable in films. Look, for me, when someone says CG is noticeable in films, it is simply because, or what they are simply trying to say is, the CGs are out of place or they are used in very wrong context. And simply put, the film is not alive. But here is the beautiful thing about RRR. The film is so alive that whether the animals, the environment, or the general CG in the film is not really as realistic as it can be, you tend to forgive it. You tend to almost ignore it. You tend not to see it because the film is so alive. This film draws you in. It draws your attention. It puts you so much that you fail to even start looking out for details to know exactly what isn't working or whatever. You simply just get lost in the film. That is because the film is so alive. And so for me, it's the right use of CG. Is that the best CG I have seen? No. Like I said, a lot of gravity-defying stuff, and some of the things are unrealistic. But that is exactly the point. That is exactly what makes this movie a movie. Because remember, I always have my theory that once an audience is ready to watch a film, there's that willing suspension of belief because they have taken time to come sit to watch a movie or to watch a film. And they know that this isn't real life. Real life here meaning this is not actual human beings that have been trapped into a box or trapped onto a screen. And so no matter what, this is actually a representation of what happened in real life. And so once the audience decide to watch, for me, it kind of answers the question. And so I really do not have a problem with over-the-top CGI in a very alive film like RRR. However, it's one of the major critics that many have labeled against this. And if you're one of them, I'm sorry, probably this film might not be for you. But for people like me, this film is super pumped and I'll recommend it for everyone. And here is a side note, guys. Do not watch this film alone. Make sure to watch this film with friends because you are going to be so energized. And I promise you that you will need someone to share your emotions with when watching this film. Because when I first watched this film, when I needed to cry, I cried. When I needed to be joyful, I was so happy. And when I was done, that was when I was able to conjure this tea. It's only by the power of RRR that I was able to conjure this. And so I do recommend that you watch RRR. Now, would you also be able to conjure this tea like I was able to after watching RRR? Before I reveal if you'll be able to get the power that I got, just do me a favor if you're new here by clicking on the subscribe button. Make sure to turn on the post notification bell and click on all so that you are notified anytime I drop awesome content like this. If you are just new here, welcome to this Africa Maze channel. Over here, I talk about cinematography, photography, editing, and all its related branches. And it will be fun and to be an honor to have you here. And please do me a favor by leaving a comment. Let me know your thoughts about RRR because I take time to answer every single one of your comments on this channel. And that is one of the hallmarks of this channel. Look, I have so many things to say about RRR. Probably I'll consider making a whole new video later on talking about some other areas of the film that we were not able to tackle in this video. Hollywood, if you're watching this, I await your reply because I know you guys are planning to reply. Please reply because as at now, for me, just give them the Oscars for the best film because it's a done deal. Oh, unless of course Hollywood would want to respond in a very strong way, but I'm just wondering what else would a Hollywood film do to capture this essence, this kind of spirit, to make a film that is really so alive, a grandiose film, a film that is a true definition of fantasy, a film that has no boundaries, a film with heroes that can do virtually anything that they want, a film with heroes that are so strong that you do not even need to explain the extraordinary strength that these guys have. These guys are fighting lions, and these heroes are so muscular, and the director doesn't need to explain why these guys are muscular, because these are historic heroes and they are just supposed to be strong. Again, this is a fantasy film, and again, it is a Rajamouli film, and these heroes are not supposed to have boundaries. I hope I was able to do justice to this particular topic. I know there's been so many thoughts out there on this film, but I just felt like, anyway, what new thing can I add but to let you guys know that I've also watched this film, and as at now, it has become my greatest film of all time. Sorry to 300 Spartans, The Rise of an Empire, which used to be the film that was like on top of the list for me. It is the film that overtook Titanic for me, and rest in peace, 300 Spartans. For now, let RRR take your spot. But I will just shift you down to number 2 and let RRR enjoy the number 1 spot in my heart from now onwards. Until next time, as always, keep practicing filmmaking. I'm not promising you, but if you click the subscribe button or click the like button, unfortunately, you will not get this power. See you in the next video.